you bring out your ace, and then he's got an opportunity to lock it down and get you to that decisive game 3 for a chance for your season to go on. That's where I think the Blue Jays are with Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Ben, thank you so much for being with us again today. I know you had a busy day, another busy day tomorrow. Postseason's here, game 1, a disappointing result, but what's your immediate reaction to game 1?
Well, the immediate reaction was, the Blue Jays took, I think, a lot of people by surprise with the game plan that they came up with for the pitching, not only in the pitching for this game, but the entire series, right? Where you go with Matt Shoemaker, you piggyback with Robbie Ray, don't know what you're going to get. And then you leave your ace on the outside looking in for the opening game of the playoffs, a place where basically nobody on this roster has been, especially of the core group of guys. And you have the experience of Hyun-Jin Ryu waiting for a game 2. That took a lot of people by surprise. But you know what? Matt Shoemaker came out and he was great. He probably could have continued longer. Robbie Ray was okay tonight for the most part. I thought he was pretty good tonight. But the bottom line for me is the offense was disappointing, but it's also a credit of how great the Tampa Bay Rays are. Blake Snell was really, really good. And third time through the order, the Tampa Bay Rays stuck to their guns where they're not going to let very many people go more than 3 times through the order. And they got him out of there and they turned it over to a bullpen that was just incredibly impressive. So, you know what? It was a good baseball game. It was a really good baseball game. Unfortunately, it just didn't go the Blue Jays' way.
One thing that I noticed about the Blue Jays is that they're resilient. They don't give up. When things are not going well, they somehow find a way to turn things around. That's what we've seen throughout the regular season. Now, with the game 1 loss, we're talking about the backs are against the wall. You don't win game 2 and 3, you go home. How do you think these young players will respond after, on the offensive side, very disappointing, very quiet day?
It is a resilient group. It is a resilient group that has had so much adversity thrown at them, both individually, collectively, on a personal side, on a professional side. And it's pretty amazing that they're even in the position that they're in, right? Because they didn't have a home when the regular season was starting. They didn't have a home ballpark. They spent the first 20 days on the road before they could finally get to Buffalo, and they had great success in Western New York. And, they play the Tampa Bay Rays tough. The Tampa Bay Rays were pretty open in saying that this is a ball club that we're not exactly excited to play because of the familiarity and the fact that the Blue Jays play them tough, and tonight is another example of that. But it's a lineup that can produce, and it can produce very quickly. Down the stretch, the Blue Jays had at least an opportunity to score, or they had the tying run in the batter's box a couple of times down the stretch, and that's exactly the MO of this young Blue Jays club, where they can grind out at bats, and they very rarely look overmatched. And I think that's really exciting, especially when you're going up against an elimination game where every pitch will matter.
Elimination game, that's what we're talking about. Game 2, and Charlie, the Blue Jays decided to save Ryu for game 2 in a 3-game series. I don't think it's a bad strategy. So important game tomorrow. How are you taking this? What do you think will happen? I know it's
in a series where anything can happen. It's a 3-game series. What if you throw Hyun-Jin Ryu against Blake Snell? That's 2 number 1s going head to head against each other, and you don't win. And now it's like, oh no, what are we going to do? So now you get your best guy in the best position. The best case scenario would have been Hyun-Jin Ryu has a chance for the Blue Jays to sweep the Tampa Bay Rays. The next best scenario is Hyun-Jin Ryu is going to be your best guy on the mound when you need him the most, and that's to avoid elimination. You've got your stopper, a guy that is your best pitching option, can get you the deepest of any of your pitchers as well. And because you didn't use your bullpen today, you've got lights out guys that can back up Hyun-Jin Ryu in this situation. So looking at how the Blue Jays approach this 3-game set, the last 48, 72 hours, I've been more on board with it than I ever thought I would ever be, in terms of kind of this innovative way to approach a 3-game series where nobody knows what can happen. Baseball's never had this before, so I'm kind of actually excited about it, and I hope Hyun-Jin Ryu specifically says that the Blue Jays did the right thing, goes out, has a really good game, and then forces a game 3.
So pumped up. Let's do this.
Yes, I'm pumped up too.
Okay. whenever we talk about the pitching changes, starting pitching, we always hear third time around. Do you think Charlie Montoya would let Hyunjin pitch deep into the game? We're talking about if he's pitching well. Matt Shoemaker was pitching well, and they took him out after third inning. Hyunjin's second time around, he's pitching well. He's on his rhythm. Do you think they'll let him face the lineup third time around?
Yeah, I do. I think he's the one guy in the rotation that they would let do that. And I think if you're looking for any place where you can go back and you can look at a former start, look at the last time that he was on the mound when the Blue Jays needed him at the biggest and needed him to go to the deepest. They allowed him to do that against the New York Yankees. And he shut down a Yankees lineup. He got deeper than he had ever gone as a Blue Jay so far. And he managed his pitch count where, again, it was like 99 pitches, but he needed every one of those 99 pitches to get through 7 innings of really, really good work. And his work is why the Blue Jays had a chance to clinch and get to the postseason. So here they are. They're in a chance to play in the postseason where they need him for their season to continue.
Right.
So that's why I believe Hyunjin Ryu, more than anybody else, will not only have an opportunity to go through the order for the third time and kind of pitch his game, where it's not going to be necessarily a detailed game plan where you have to stick by this, that, and the other. Last time out, we saw a lot of the repertoire of Hyunjin Ryu right away against the New York Yankees. I mean, we saw changeups, we saw cutters, we saw curveballs. Obviously, the fastball is what everything else is going to build on. But he emptied the tank really, really early against the New York Yankees. So not that the lineup in Tampa is anything like that, but you're going to get a handful more of right-handed hitters just by design with the way that the Rays do things. And I think that plays in perfectly to Hyunjin Ryu.
Thinking, how do you think this game will turn out tomorrow? Do you think Hyunjin will pitch well?
I do. I really do. I think that it goes all the way back to his first start where Hyunjin Ryu really wasn't that good coming out of the gate with all the things that happened to the Blue Jays, and I think he wants a really good start. The baseball fan in me wants 7 1/3 of one-run baseball from Hyunjin Ryu. That's what I'm banking on tomorrow. That's the baseball fan in me. Okay. I take away some of the sexy numbers, the big strikeouts, all that kind of stuff. I want a guy to go out there on the hill and just dominate. I want to see Hyunjin Ryu pick apart the Tampa Bay Rays order. That's the baseball fan in me. That's the kind of baseball that I love, is when you've got two guys going toe-to-toe on the mound. I don't expect it to be a high-scoring game whatsoever. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think more than any start this year, Hyunjin Ryu is going to essentially call his game from the mound. I think this is the time we are going to see the best of Hyunjin Ryu and why the Blue Jays thought so much of him and signed him to the 4-year deal.
I hope you're right, Ben. I hope we could continue to do this next week, the week after that. One last thing.
Me too.
Yeah. One last question. The Korean fans are a little bit concerned right now. All of a sudden, boom, game 1, it's done. Elimination game is facing the Blue Jays. We're all afraid that the season might end quickly. What can you tell all the Korean baseball fans? Can you tell them not to worry that Hyunjin's gonna get this done tomorrow?
Yeah, you got to settle down. Let's all settle down a second. I mean, this was by design. It goes back to something that I think I referenced earlier, right? Where you roll the dice. Blake Snell's really good. There's a reason he's starting for the Tampa Bay Rays. An offense that came in for the Blue Jays that was really, really good for the last couple of weeks and firing on all cylinders in that last homestand, including matchups against the New York Yankees where their offense outscored New York and the Baltimore Orioles by 20-plus runs in the run differential. They were really, really good, and Hyunjin Ryu is part of that as well. You bring out your ace, and then he's got an opportunity to lock it down and get you to that decisive game 3 for a chance for your season to go on. That's where I think the Blue Jays are with Hyunjin Ryu. And, an absolute stoic and confident Hyunjin Ryu is what we saw earlier today in his media session. So if anybody knows postseason baseball that needs to have an influence in this lineup and in this roster, it's going to be the guy that was starting games for the World Series like Hyunjin Ryu was able to do with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, this is it. This is the body of work that you're hoping for to give your chance the best shot to advance in the playoffs.